Hey, welcome. Today, we're going to try something a little different. We're connecting the dots on California. We've got a few stories that, on the surface, seem totally unrelated. But stick with me, because once we piece them together, you'll see a much bigger picture of what California is all about right now, its identity, its struggles, and where it's headed. So, what is the link, right? What could possibly connect a middle school party, a high stakes political race, and a deeply personal family quest? Well, as we're about to see, it's all part of this incredible story about legacy, identity, and the ongoing fight to define the future of California. Let's get into it. So, first up, let's talk about the past. Because in California, history isn't just something you read about in a dusty old textbook. Nope. It's alive, it's being celebrated, debated, and rediscovered in communities and families every single day. And let's see what that looks like on the ground. This is Sonia McKeithen, a student at Curran Middle School. And for her, Black History Month isn't some abstract lesson. You can hear it in her voice. It's personal. It's this powerful, joyful moment to celebrate just how far her community has come. And what a celebration it was. Seriously, the entire campus basically turned into a festival. You had students performing, local Black-owned businesses setting up shop, and community groups like the NAACP and the Davis Foundation right there with them. It was a real full-circle community thing. And what I think is so interesting is this sense of responsibility you hear from students like Dempsey Rosa, the school president. He's not just learning history, he feels like it's his generation's job to be the storytellers, to make sure these crucial stories don't just fade away. That drive to connect with the past, it goes even deeper than community events. It's also incredibly personal. We're seeing this huge wave of people, especially African Americans, digging into their own family trees to uncover the stories that were broken or lost to history. Which brings us to the absolutely incredible story of John T. Ward. Just look at this life. He's freed from slavery in 1827. He then becomes a conductor on the Underground Railroad, literally risking his life to guide others to freedom. And then he starts a business that is still running today. It's one of the oldest Black-owned businesses in the entire country. That's not just a timeline, that is a story of unbelievable resilience. And his descendant, Shanna Ward, she just nails why this work is so important. It's about reclaiming humanity. It's about seeing your ancestors not just as statistics or property, but as real people, as survivors whose stories literally shape who you are today. Okay, so all of that history, it's not just in the past, it's directly fueling the fights happening right now. So let's pivot and look at the modern day policy debates and the political battles that are literally shaping the California of tomorrow. And a huge piece of this puzzle is something called Proposition 209. You got to understand this. Passed way back in '96, it completely changed the game in California by banning the state from using race or gender as factors in things like public hiring, college admissions, and government contracts. So flash forward to today, and there's a big fight over a new proposal called ACA 7. And here's the conflict in a nutshell. Supporters say, hey, this just clarifies the old law so we can target specific, proven inequalities. But opponents are saying, no way, this is a backdoor attempt to weaken the original ban that voters approved. So is it a fix or a loophole? That is the question at the heart of this whole debate. Now, let's shift gears to the governor's race, where we're seeing another vision for California's future. You've got billionaire Tom Steyer, who's making his whole campaign about affordability. And his plan? Go after corporate power. He wants to ban their political money, close tax loopholes, and take on utility monopolies, all to free up cash for things like free education and to lower costs for regular families. Of course, you can't talk about California's future without talking about the homelessness crisis. It's maybe the most visible challenge the state has, and the current administration is tackling it with a very clear, very direct slogan, treatment, not tents. And they're putting some serious cash behind that slogan. Governor Newsom just announced another $291 million in funding. This money is specifically aimed at creating more housing and, crucially, getting people the behavioral health services they need to stay housed, a lot of it through the state's new CARE Act program. Okay, so for our last section, let's pull the lens back a bit and celebrate some of the things that are just baked into California's DNA: progress, culture, and that relentless spirit of innovation. Check this out. This is a really powerful sign of progress. A brand new report shows that the percentage of Black judges on the bench in California has more than doubled in just the last couple of decades. That is a massive shift in representation, one that really changes the face of the state's justice system. And if we zoom out, you can see the entire judiciary is starting to look a lot more like the people of California. In fact, since 2006, the share of Asian, Black, and Hispanic judges combined has jumped by more than 140%. That's huge. Of course, progress like this doesn't just happen in a vacuum, right? It's built on the work of giants, people like the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who the state just honored. His entire life was about pushing America to be better, and his fight for representation helped pave the way for the changes we're seeing today. And speaking of giants, the state's cultural power is on full display with its newest Hall of Fame inductees. I mean, just look at this list. You got legendary athletes, brilliant authors, Hollywood royalty, and groundbreaking musicians. It's a perfect snapshot of the kind of diverse excellence that California gives to the world. And California is also doubling down on its next generation of innovators. The state is pumping millions into new startups. But here's the really cool part. Over 70% of that money is going to brand new companies, businesses that haven't even made a dollar yet. It's basically a huge bet on pure, raw ideas. So that brings us back to where we started. We've seen how this deep personal connection to history, these really high-stakes debates over policy, and this vibrant, innovative culture are all pulling and pushing on the state. The real question is, which one of these powerful forces is going to write California's next chapter?